Let's talk about Earnest Williams. He's the husband of Steve Harvey co-host Shirley Strawberry, and oh my goodness, these allegations that dropped from this police report. The police report is from years ago, but now it's being introduced in a new case. And the things that Nesto Williams' daughter had to say in that information that just dropped, April 15th. I mean, what is today? Today is Saturday, April 18th. We expected a trial to come, but it's been delayed. But at one point, Nesto's daughter said her father, this is her bio father, told her, "I know I'm sick in the head and I don't care." Now, when you hear about some of the stuff she alleges, I don't even know what I can say on YouTube, but I will put the documents, of course, up on Patreon. I'm going to not use her name, neither of these victims. I won't use their names, these alleged victims, but oh my goodness, everyone's reeling over this. So Steve Harvey, most people know him. He has a billion different jobs, I guess, and one of them is this long-running radio talk show. I didn't really watch it. I don't even know if it's in my market or not, but he has this co-host, Shirley Strawberry, and she's, beautiful woman, great voice, been through a lot. She would have these strawberry letters she would read where she would give advice to people and everything. Eventually, we'll see here, she got married to a man named Earnest Williams. He has a billion names and a billion cases, let me tell you. Ernesto, Nesto, whatever Williams, and that's his name. There's a lot of fraud cases. There's all these crazy kind of CSAM cases or whatever. But what his own daughter is alleging that he allegedly did to her, the assault, the punching, the 3 different incidents. We're going to get there. There's a lot we have to get through, so let's get through it together. You might remember I've covered this case. Ernest Williams, I guess that's his real name. He was born back on January 9th, back in 1965. So he's in trouble. Okay, he's been in jail for a while now, but we're going to go through a nice timeline. There's a shocking new 19-page motion that dropped that lets us know the secrets, allegedly, of Nesto, Shirley Strawberry's ex-husband. She's divorced him by now, but let's go through this timeline. It's like, oh my goodness. She's been through the ringer with this man, Ernest Nesto Williams. So this 61-year-old man, Nesto, I'll just keep calling him Nesto, he has a laundry list of charges dating all the way back from what I could find in Fulton County Magistrate, State, and Superior Court record search ever since he was 40. And the court website, isn't it ironic, lists 40 charges under his name. I didn't even look around other counties for any other charges because I've heard him allude to, yeah, my past or whatever. I've had a bad past. He made Shirley think, I'm done with that. She thought he was done with it. She thought he had turned over a new leaf. And if anything, this can be a learning lesson to everyone to just not fall for the fantasy, not fall for the game, not fall for that player pimp talk. We call him mushmouth. Whenever my husband would hear me listening to these jail phone calls, he's like, oh, you're listening to mushmouth again, because he would speak really lowly and he doesn't enunciate. Trying to see what's on my forehead. He doesn't enunciate, and I like it when people enunciate. So
we riding on my birthday on our super anniversary.
It's super. It's just 6. Can you believe I made it? Did you think you were gonna be married to me this long?
Absolutely, absolutely, not a problem. Not a problem.
My mom had this teacher once back in the day, DuSable High School. She said it about a certain race of people. But anyway, the woman said, we should use our teeth, lips, and tongue to speak. And that really does help me to this day because, of course, I have a tendency to mumble. So especially when you're coming across on video, you want to make sure people understand what we're saying. So this most recent indictment has heads turning. YouTube is talking. Oh my goodness, I've covered this case before when I sat in on their divorce hearing. And one more time when, his lawyer said my name in court. So I don't mess around with Fulton County anymore, but this I had to read you. Okay, on April 15th, just the other day, a motion, it was named State's Motion for the Introduction of Other Act evidence was filed on the docket. So I purchased that 19-page document and accidentally purchased another one too, which is longer. I'll put them both on Patreon because I was like, I've got to know what's going on here. It contains these seriously shocking accusations of what Nesto's oldest daughter, and another victim is claiming he did to them. One of the victims is his own daughter. She's 22 years his junior. So this daughter must have been born from these records I see, these dates of birth. Nesto was only 22 when she was born, and I'm like, no excuses, but I'm like, did he view her more as his peer, as some kind of girlfriend instead of his daughter? I don't know, but I was like, wait a minute, why do I see her name in these court documents? You know, she requested privacy way back when she made this report. She requested confidentiality, so I'm like, I'm not going to say her name on YouTube nor the other woman's name on YouTube. But this report, it's being used as Exhibit A in a formal criminal motion in a different state. The LAPD report, which we're really going to dig into here from Nesto's daughter, it's being used in his cases. He's caught all these RICO cases and different fraud cases, so many cases in Georgia. Since it's being used as Exhibit A in a different state, the requirements of that reasonable notice to the defense and the public nature of court documents superseded the initial privacy request. That's why it's publicly available. I was like, what? Let's dig into this timeline so it'll start to make sense to you, everything as it shook down. Let's start with Shirley and Nesto's engagement, July 28th, 2014. So prior to that date, I guess, I don't know, Nesto has been married other times. I think Shirley's been through a bad marriage or a bad relationship or something. But somehow Nesto and Shirley met each other. Some people say Steve introduced them. I don't know if that's correct or not. But you can see videos from social media where Steve Harvey is like, wait a minute, who is Nesto? And he was calling him a different name and all this stuff.
I want to meet Shirley's husband. Show me Shirley and put him on screen. Where? He over there next. Oh, both of them husband right there. That's good. Shirley husband and put the camera on. I want to meet Shirley's husband.
Husband.
Aurelio?
Really, no.
Ernesto. Shirley, man, next.
He black, dog.
It looks black.
Husband.
Eventually, their engagement, Shirley and Nesto's engagement, was a big fanfare. It was caught on video. Nesto surprised Shirley at her job on the set of the Steve Harvey Morning Show. The proposal occurred live on air with help from Shirley's daughter from a previous relationship.
Just be quiet for a second. Let me ask you a question. The woman that you about to ask me this question about, do you love her?
Yes.
Could you, when you think about it, you can't live without her?
No, sir.
Is she the woman of your dream?
Yes, sir.
Do you think about her oftentimes before you think about yourself?
Yes, sir.
Would you die for her?
Yes, absolutely.
Would you take care of her before you took care of yourself?
Yes.
Let me ask you this here. Would you love everything about her and everybody connected to her as if it was your own?
Yes.
Okay, then. Sure.
Yes.
This your man right here.
Ernesto.
Wait a minute.
This Shirley, happy birthday, is Ernesto. And this is your birthday, Shirley. And Ernesto
Oh my God.
is here.
So it was like, oh, how cute, you know, Nesto, if you don't know much about him, he cleans up really well, you know, he's there and he's like on the phone and he's all awkward and there's flowers and Shirley is just bowled over. And I can imagine you're of a certain age, you've been through relationships that don't work out. And it's like, oh, here's this guy. He's supposedly a Christian. He's supposedly, you know, a good man. A good man, okay. You know, now he wants me to marry him. Everything's going great. Okay. No, it didn't turn out that way. Their marriage date was January 9th, 2015. Strangely enough, that's also Nesto's birthday, January 9th. I find that weird that someone would get married on their birthday. You think they want to kind of maybe separate the two dates? I don't know. Whatever. January 9th, 2015. The wedding was this big affair. You know, Steve Harvey walked Shirley down the aisle like, you know, some kind of father figure as she's marrying Ernesto Williams on January 9th, 2015. The wedding took place in Atlanta. You could see different friends, you know, I think some celebrities, just a beautiful affair. Shirley looked gorgeous. Everyone looked good. Now, you would think, okay, you know, Nesto admitted to his past, you know, jail problems, fraud issues, whatever all these are. I had to screenshot them to see he has so many charges. So Shirley knew about some of this stuff. She didn't go into it totally blind. It's hard to know. There are charges in his past. I don't even think I have his entire court records from every single place. I do want to know more about this man's childhood, let me tell you. I really want to know why he is the way he is. So they're married in 2015. That should be it, right? He should be thanking God. Nesto should have been thanking God at this point. He found a great woman, making a lot of money, semi-famous, working with Steve Harvey. She didn't really bat an eye at whatever past charges he had in his life. You know, that was the past. But no, here comes these accusations. I'm going to give several trigger warnings that Nesto's oldest daughter, the alleged victim, says started occurring August 2017 all the way through July 2020. Now, mind you, this is 2 years after he married Shirley Strawberry. Okay, so in spite of that big, beautiful wedding, during the same time period Nesto's married to Shirley, he's allegedly actively assaulting 2 women according to their allegations. And these are the only ones that have made it into the court documents. Part of me was thinking, imagine if there are more, because more women will come out of the woodwork. I'm not accusing him of anything. There's one woman who comes out of the woodwork years later to just staunchly defend him, call him, oh, that's my best friend. We'll get there. Back at this point, between 2017 and 2020, Nesto's oldest daughter, again, remain nameless, is accusing him of horrible stuff. We're going to get to all her allegations in a bit. Let's just say while Nesto was busy like flexing and flossing for the gram during that time, his daughter says there's some horrible stuff going on. 3 different events. So the daughter made a report to LAPD, Los Angeles Police Department, on March 2nd, 2021 regarding 3 separate assaults she says took place between 2017 and 2020. Trigger warning, these actions described in the police report are wicked. Read them over there if you want. I don't even know how much I can put on the screen. I never know what I can really say on YouTube. So later, when Nesto would go viral, appearing in these jail phone calls on YouTube, he would speak with this little chick on the side, I'll call her, a woman who calls Nesto her best friend. He would talk with this other chick on the side about his daughter. And Nesto would dog out his daughter. He called her, oh, this daughter's bipolar, she's schizophrenic, she's being used as a pawn against him, you know, to manufacture evidence. That's when he was imploring anyone on the outside to try and find some video that had been taken of this daughter talking crazy so he could use it as evidence against her. And I'm asking, was he feeling guilty and attempting to, you know, the Darvo, deflect and redirect and all that stuff? Was he attempting to Darvo his own daughter? And it's weird, if you read between the lines now that we're getting more info, Nesto's social media often speaks about asking for forgiveness during this time.
Happy Sunday. Ask God for forgiveness. Ask yourself to forgive others who have done wrong to you. Ask yourself to go out and ask people to forgive you what you have done to them. Happy Sunday. Get out here and enjoy nature. It's beautiful. God is good all the time. Nesto's.
You know, he loves water. He talks about get in the water. You know, let the water wash you clean. And I'm like, yeah, only if it's you're repenting with the blood of Jesus, not just trying to, you know, stunt on social media.
Good morning. This is where you need to be at. You need to be out here in this water out here, in this green water out here. You want to get you some more money. You got to sit out here and rinse yourself off. Ask God to forgive you for any sins you have done in the past. Move forward. Move forward. Don't allow yourself to get caught up in the past. The past will never come back. Move forward to the future. Ask God to forgive you. Move forward. That's what I do. I get rid of anything that I don't need to help me move forward. I get in this water twice a year. Ask God to forgive me. Won't you try it? This is my key to success. This is why I keep building stronger and stronger and stronger. I really don't care who believes. I really don't care who the doubters is. I know what worked for me. If you're scared, don't come around me. Please don't. It does no good. I just want winners, all winners around me.
Did Nasty Nesto, that's what they call him, did he fear the world would discover any of his daughter's allegations were perhaps true? Now here we go. Trigger warning, you've been warned. If you don't want to hear all this essay stuff, then, fast forward quite a bit. So Nesto's daughter told the LAPD about 3 separate occasions when the suspect, which is Nesto, forcibly had sexual intercourse with the victim against her will. 1 in another state, 2 in California between the 2017 and the 2020. So now, I was reading this report. It's really kind of hard to read and badly redacted and everything, but it's from 2021, from 5 years ago. The report says the weapon is bodily force and verbal threats. On March 2nd, 2021, at about 1500 hours, this is 3 p.m., it says my partner, Officer Costales, and Officer Ramos were assigned West Valley Patrol Unit. We were in full uniform driving a marked black and white police vehicle when we received a radio call for an attack investigation on Ventura Boulevard. Apparently, Nesto's oldest daughter spends a lot of time in LA or lives out in the California area. And Nesto and Shirley even, they often traveled, or sometimes him, I guess by himself or with others, would travel from where they were based in Atlanta over there to California. Okay, here's the investigation about the incidents. Now, there was an early of summer 2018 incident. This is what Nesto's daughter told the police happened. My partner and I arrived at the above location and contacted the daughter, who stated she was at Havenhurst in Ventura, which is where we met her. My partner and I met with her, who stated that one night during the early summer of 2018, she was walking in the area of Ventura Boulevard and Sepulveda Boulevard. It says while she was walking, she was approached from the rear by the suspect, Earnest Williams, her father. He walks behind her and puts his arm around her neck over her shoulders as the two walked side by side. I always did find that weird. Like, was he watching her? If this is true at all, of course he's innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, I have to say. Was she just walking and her dad happens to walk up behind her? Had they been in communication? When he spoke on the jail phone call, he did tell his little girlfriend, like, oh, I hadn't seen this daughter in years. So, okay, we'll see. But it is strange the way it's described. I wish I could get the body cam to understand. If they had body cams, they should. LAPD should have body cams at 2018, but sometimes they, get rid of stuff. Oh no, in 2021, yes, but sometimes, there's a limit. They get rid of stuff. I might request it. But the daughter said, Nesto then began talking to her about stretching the bloodline and having a baby together, to which she said no and began to cry. She tried to leave the area. That would be so weird. How long had it been since she's seen her father? How did he know where she was? Had they spoken? Had they planned to meet up? Did he just walk up and surprise her? This daughter told the police. A few minutes later, the suspect, Ernest, who was in a 4-door burgundy Mercedes, remember that, pulled up to the curb next to her and demanded that she get inside the vehicle. Yeah, like some sort of pedo. Get in this car. So he's demanding his daughter get inside that vehicle. She indicated that the vehicle belonged to the suspect's wife, Shirley Strawberry, this 4-door burgundy Mercedes. And I know some people say with victims, they're like, oh, you were old enough to say no, and why didn't you fight off or run or whatever? It's hard to question people's reactions or her feelings towards her dad. She's going to talk about, oh, I thought this is what daughters do. I felt guilty. So many things happening here. And if any part of what Nesto does say is true, if she does suffer from being bipolar, any type of condition, or any schizophrenia, if she has any mental health conditions, to me that's even sadder that he would take advantage, allegedly, of a daughter with these conditions. But of course, let Nesto tell it, she's completely lying and making this up out of thin air. And we'll go through how him and his little girlfriend are trying to, sometimes more so the girlfriend is like, oh, you weren't even in town those dates. But his Instagram proves otherwise, as we'll go through. The daughter refused to get inside the vehicle, at which time the suspect exited the vehicle, forcibly grabbed her by the arms, and threw her into the rear passenger side of the vehicle. I saw a little bit of info about her weight. Her height is only 5'1", and at the time she weighed 125 pounds. I think that's all important. Every single aspect in reading through this and trying to figure out, just trying to view the scene. You can see Nesto is a pretty tall guy. He looks pretty, and in different times I was just watching videos of him jumping around, and he just looks like he could be a little bit buff. And I think about comparing this tall father, kind of buff, maybe he's 6 feet tall or something, I should look at his records, to his little 5 feet 1 inch 125-pound daughter. As I go through this scene, he's getting out of the vehicle, forcibly grabbing her by the arms, throwing her into the rear passenger side of the vehicle. She then indicated he drove to the top floor of the parking structure of the Public School 818 restaurant, at which time she recalled was empty. So this parking lot was empty. Now, according to Google, that restaurant is now closed. It was previously located at 15300 Ventura Boulevard in Sherman Oaks, California, and that's only 2 miles east of the intersection of Ventura and Sepulveda Boulevard, where Nesto's daughter says he forced her into his car. Her account is kind of logically checking out in terms of placement and everything. The daughter said she attempted to open the door in an attempt to exit the vehicle and flee. However, she believes the child lock was engaged because she was unable to open the door. I'm thinking that's scary if true. Is this some kind of thing, engaging the child locks when you don't have young children? I mean, I know he has grandchildren. I saw one. He's going to tell her happy birthday on his Instagram. But Nesto and Shirley don't have children, young children. So it's like, why is this child lock engaged? Now, the daughter said while the car was parked, she observed him walk to the rear of the vehicle to gain access into the trunk. He then removed what she stated were toys. You know what kind of toys I'm talking about. Suspect Ernest then walked to the rear passenger seat where his daughter was, still located with these items. Now, she described one of the items, this is a weird description, she described one of the items as a black vibrating machine. It's weird, it's like a machine. And when asked what that was, the suspect replied to her, oh, it's a tool from the barbershop. Now, Nesto was kind of famous for owning this Nesto's barbershop. He kind of bragged about it. Maybe that was his claim to fame, along with allegedly scamming people. But he had a barbershop, Nesto's barbershop in Atlanta. I guess maybe more than one location, because in one video he goes to this location and he kind of, I think perhaps if you listen to him, he was one of the pioneers of keeping barbershops open, perhaps really late hours and, focusing on men's grooming and guys hanging out and all this stuff. Something that kind of caught on. I think popular people in Atlanta would go there. That's his claim to fame.
Well, I just really thank God for really what he done put me through. I put this down here, this VIP 2060 Peachtree Road. I started this game with a 24-hour barber shop. Look how far it really came. I met a lot of people in this place right here. I really thank God for real. My hustle, my grind, all of that done paid off. This is 2020. It was 2004 when I came here. Believe that. They can't even get rid of this. They can't even get rid of it. Trademark yourself. Trademark yourself. Your dream will come true.
So that's why he's telling his daughter allegedly it's a tool from the barbershop. So the daughter then said The suspect entered the vehicle. He sat next to her. He placed his hands around her neck and began to strangle her as he said, "I'm gonna show you what happened when you tell me no." Now that's another scary part here, okay? Anyone who's allegedly strangling someone else, it's scary. It says suspect Earnest eventually let go of his grip around her neck. The daughter turned her back towards him and faced away. So, according to her, she can't get out. Child locks are engaged. I don't know if she attempted to jump in the front or not, but she turned her back to her father, and this made him angry. This made suspect Earnest angry and caused him to aggressively pull her legs towards him. He then pulled down her pants and her underwear off without her permission. While she was nude from the waist down, suspect Earnest grabbed this vibrating toy and forcibly, completely inserted it in her. Now, mind you, later when he is arrested, the following year after this report, in 2022, we'll get there, they did find objects like this described in his truck. Like he just kept it carried around with him. Like, I feel like it was like the liquid, that liquid enhancing stuff I'll say some guys use. I don't know if it was like the honey packets or what. And this black toy and all that. Back to the report. I then asked her how long she believed this vibrating toy was in her. She estimated for about 5 minutes. She indicated that while the toy was in her, the suspect began taking off his clothes from the waist down. And then he removed the toy from her and he told her, "Every time I see you, I want you to be horny." I was like, ew. Like, keep in mind, this daughter is saying this is what her dad is doing to her. Like, I can't even imagine. It's very sad. The report says, I asked her if this vibrating toy hurt while it was in her. She said it didn't hurt, but she felt it inside her vibrating. She said that after the removal of the toy, the suspect then put his hard member inside her against her will. She stated that as he penetrated her multiple times, he told her, "I'm not stopping until I get mine." If you listen to his jail calls, it's like you can hear it in his voice. The daughter stated this lasted for approximately 10 minutes. She indicated that when he finished, he pulled out and ejaculated on some wipes in the rear seat. So they were there, so they were in the rear seat already. And even though he's like, "Oh, what do you think about expanding the bloodline?" When he, finished, he did it on some wipes there in the rear seat. I guess he just comes prepared, literally, huh? This is difficult. I think this shocked everyone because those of us following the case didn't know it was this bad. I didn't even know his own daughter had these kind of allegations against him. Again, they have to be proven in a court of law, but just the thought of what she's saying is very disturbing. And so even though he was talking all that game about let's expand the bloodline, when it's time for him to climax, it's like he's doing it on these wipes. He's probably, if true at all, trying to get rid of evidence and not really truly wanting to impregnate her because, when that happens, that's proof. That's real DNA evidence. If she had gotten pregnant, who does this baby belong to? There you go. The daughter mentioned he then dressed himself. He returned to the driver's seat while she stayed in the back seat as he began to drive off. And then he dropped her off where he had picked her up and told her, "Don't you try to go too far." So that's interesting when we take a look at these text messages exchanged that happened between the daughter and her dad. There will be similar wording, except he will misspell it. But don't you try and go too far. What was he saying? Like trying to flirt? Like, don't go too far? Or like a threat? Don't you go too far? That's why I like hearing the actual victim statements, the body cam or whatever, so you can hear the tone. Sometimes just words, and of course the police said, this is just a summary, this is just how we, heard it. So it says, I asked her how she felt after the incident, and she informed me she felt sore and feeling scared and guilty. So I think that's like a common set of feelings for victims or alleged victims. Kind of like, what is happening? What is my dad doing? And she's going to, in the text messages, claim he took her virginity. Now, this isn't the first incident. They tell us these 3 incidents, but they put them out of order, so that's why it's a little confusing. She also indicated 2 other forcible incidents happened between her and the suspect, Earnest. Now, this is one of the whole points of making this video, or everything I've been doing following this case for years. Nesto's Instagram dates line up with his California travel. You know, these incidents his daughter alleges. So before we keep going with this horrible incident reading it, I have to take a moment to just thank God I was able to screen record like 10 gigabytes worth of this man's Instagram feed before it was deleted. And that deletion was discussed in some of the jail calls that Nesto would later make. So I'm praying to God that all the prosecutors already got, all of his social media before stuff was deleted. But just in case they haven't, I've been making these videos to help out, to see, okay, do her allegations line up at all with what's on his Instagram? So even though Nesto's, quote, best friend, his chick on the side, would claim his social media could prove he wasn't even in town, there's so many jail phone calls. If you listen to them, they're hard to hear. There's a lot of, noise and mumbling. And then once they realize people are listening to them, Nesto and his little girlfriend, then they try and speak in code. So it's kind of hard to decipher, but it's coming clearer. I believe the girlfriend would say things like, oh, you weren't even in town when this happened. And Nesto would be like, yeah, the daughter's crazy. But other times he seemed hesitant to kind of go along with that. Because I think at one point his little girlfriend was like, oh, I can go to your Instagram. Give me your password. Instagram, I can prove, you weren't even in town. And one point I seem to remember him like, you don't, wait, hold up now. You don't want to do that. But it did sound like he was asking different people on the outside to destroy evidence. That is his Instagram account. And there were 2 different Instagram accounts, but I was able to screen record I think both of them. I should look for the other one, but his now deleted Nesto's Buckhead Instagram account. Nesto indeed places himself in Los Angeles several different times in 2018. So remember, his daughter is saying, okay, this incident that we just horrible read there, it happened in early summer of 2018. So I was like, let me go through. Let me see what I can find for 2018. I saw one photo was from July 31st, 2018. There was this other creepy post dated July 14th, 2018. He's leaning on a vehicle and he's like putting his finger to his mouth, and the caption is like, shh, the element of surprise is coming, take heed. So I had to figure out, where is this? And based on the landmarks visible in the photo, the location is indeed Sunset Plaza in West Hollywood, California. You can see the exact address from the shops in the background, Blue Mercury, Eden, so it's around 8600, 8650 Sunset Boulevard. You see the Sunset sign, the rooftop sign at 8580 Sunset Boulevard, and you can see the Metro sign and everything. He takes this photo, I don't know who takes the photo, from the sidewalk or near a parked vehicle. He's kind of has his hand on this vehicle. So this is about 12.4 miles away from that attack investigation location mentioned in the police report. And instead of a 4-door burgundy Mercedes, though, the vehicle in the foreground of the photo is a red Jeep Wrangler. Some kind of late model JK or JL generation Jeep Wrangler. So you can tell by all the fenders, the flares and all that firecracker red paint. He loved his cars, and we know Nesto drove many different cars. There's another Instagram photo that places Nesto in California. It was tagged Beverly Wilshire, Beverly Hills on May 22nd, 2018. I know that's not summer, but I was just trying to find everything in that time period, that's spring. Nesto was at the Four Seasons Hotel, as he explained, because, quote, my wife is being honored tonight with a Gracie Award. I'm so proud of my cotton candy. That's what he called Shirley Strawberry. So I'm like, did Nesto feel like he was taking a back seat? Literally, back seat to his powerful, accomplished wife, and therefore he needed to get mine, as he said, in the back seat with his own daughter soon thereafter. There's another photo from May 14th, 2018, tagged Los Angeles. Nesto is just sitting pensively in his suit outside at a table, like a little bistro or whatever. People take those photos as if not to realize, photos being taken, It's so funny. It's like, okay, obviously, someone's taking your photo, or you have the self timer thing, run across the street or wherever you prop your phone and then come over and go look, give that look. Anyway, obviously staged, but he's imparting his wisdom. Quote, don't let it take a lifetime before you give yourself permission to really live. Again, there was another photo dated February 14th, 2018, Valentine's Day, with Beverly Hills, Cali as the location, and Nesto is holding hands with Shirley, and he wrote, "I love to see Cotton Candy smile." So obviously he spent a lot of time in LA. His own Instagram photos and videos testify that he spent lots of time in California, not only in 2018 but also in 2017 when the first alleged incident with his daughter occurred. I was so thankful. Maybe this is why I'm feeling like I need to do this video today. It's not about being some true crime influencer or all the true crime drama. Sometimes it's about really helping in court cases if the prosecution is watching this. If they didn't get a chance to sit there and, like I did, scroll for an hour or something and get that video, because I knew, oh, it's going to be deleted. Yeah, it's like an hour and 16 minutes long. All the video I was able to scroll through, his Instagram and screen record. We want to be a help, because if anything his own daughter is saying is true, he needs to account for it. It's not just about posting these little things on Instagram or, going down like he does. Get yourself in the water. Let the water wipe you clean. Let the water wash you clean. Let God forgive you. It's not about just all that lip service. It's truly about admitting, okay, if it's true, if he harmed his own daughter and this other woman, it's about taking accountability for it. Part of me is like, when he said, "I'm sick in the head," allegedly, according to his daughter, I was like, oh, he recognizes it's coming up. I know I'm sick in the head. I was like, oh, he recognizes maybe something's wrong with him. But then he says, "and I don't care," according to her. Let's talk about this 2017 incident where he allegedly said that. So the police report says the first incident occurred sometime in August of 2017. So, whoa, they put him out of order. I don't know why, but maybe that's the way she told them the report, whatever. The daughter indicated that she and Earnest, the suspect, were on a road trip from Atlanta to Los Angeles. Suspect Earnest booked a room, and she believes this room could have been like a Holiday Inn in the state of Arkansas. Oh, love Arkansas. But she stated that, she was basically assaulted by him inside the hotel room against her will by her dad, and that would have been the first time, I guess. That's what they're saying. That's the first incident. So if this is true at all, she's going on this road trip. I don't know how much he was around her life growing up, but I wondered if she felt like, oh, even though Dad is married to the semi-famous woman, Shirley Strawberry, he's still taking time to, we can go on this road trip. I know Shirley's job caused her to work quite a bit. Earnest, he had the barbershop, I guess, but he also, tried to keep up appearances by having this fleet of cars and some type of security fleet or whatever. It's hard to tell from the smoke and mirrors when you're dealing with a person, I believe, who is very manipulative, lies a lot. He likes to put up this big Instagram front of, if I play any snippets of his videos in here, you'll see what I mean.
Okay, we sitting out here enjoying life. This is what I'm trying to do right now for my new business. Bringing people and helping them understand life, enjoy life, and life is short. Get out here, enjoy this fresh air. Get away from the city for a minute. You agree?
I agree. Good times.
Good times. This is family. Thank you.
That game where people are just, I'll put you up on game and do this and do that, and the whole scam thing. Back to Arkansas. The daughter also indicated she believed, toys were used during that incident. She said after it happened, the suspect told her, "I know I'm sick in the head and I don't care." So, was that his plan all along, if it's at all true, to take advantage of his daughter? And I don't know her. I don't think I've ever seen a photo. I've never seen her on video that I can remember. He just often says, she's troubled, she's a mess, she talks out of her head. We don't know what is true, but if she comes to court and testifies in this trial, it will be powerful. So indeed, in 2017, there was an Instagram photo published on July 31st, 2017 to Nesto's Instagram. It was tagged Los Angeles. So this kind of lines up again too. She's telling police in LA that the first incident happened sometime in August of 2017. Okay, so I went through, I'm really researching here. There was a July 31st, 2017 Instagram photo on Nesto's Instagram tagged Los Angeles. Nesto wrote, "Knowledge is power. Don't share it with anyone who is afraid to use it. Keep it moving." Then There was an August 1st, 2017 photo on Nesto's Instagram. He's sitting at a dock near a boat. He wrote, "Being around your future makes your vision even clearer." Clear as mud, you know. The photo is tagged Newport Beach, California. He has all these Nesto-isms. He tries to make himself sound really deep, and it's really just materialistic stuff. You know, there's videos of him trying on the suit or being wherever, and you know, like just trying to make it seem like he's the one popping, like it's all about me and I have all this wisdom and I can make you rich. But it's proving in August 2017, when his daughter says this road trip from Atlanta to LA happened, it proves where he was. August 1st, he's in Newport Beach, right there, and I'm sure they can, you know, find all the metadata of the actual photos and know when it was actually, all the evidence. Then there's an August 4th, 2017 Instagram video. It begins with Nesto saying to the camera, "This is for you haters."
This is for you haters. This is for you haters.
This is for you haters. He says it whining like a child. That photo, that video is tagged Los Angeles. So that's August 4th. We've got, you know, August 1st. He's in Newport Beach, July 31st. He's in, where is he? He's already in Los Angeles. August 4th, photos tagged LA. He's there for a while. And he's, I think I made that the intro to one of my videos because he's just like a child, like a stunted Chucky evil doll child. Ugh, it's like ew. In that video, he's like, "This is for you haters," all up in the camera, and then he runs to like some kind of Humvee truck or whatever, and he's like almost falling or whatever, getting up in it. And so who's the hater he's referring to, and why is he saying it like that? Like, oh, just because I can surround myself with fancy stuff I don't own, fancy stuff that I allegedly scammed people to get. A lot of robbing Peter to pay Paul if you read through all his cases. What is that supposed to do? You know, I feel more blessed or more honored. I tell God, who cares if my carpet is dirty and old, or, you know, I want my bathroom remodeled, whatever. Who cares if it's all these things around me that, you know, might not be up to par or might not be a boss babe or whatever, you know, people say. I'm like, at least I'm not robbing anybody, okay? I'm not scamming anyone to try and make this fake fancy lifestyle. I think about that all the time. Of course, sure, I like nice things. Anyone would want nicer things even, but I'm grateful, so grateful for what I have, because I'm like, I don't have to look over my shoulder or feel so much guilt. Let's keep moving. August 5th, 2017, another Insta photo tagged Hollywood. Nesto is writing, "Can't wait to get back to Dubai this week to meet my investors." What investors? Closing old doors, and he goes on to say something. But all these photos and videos offer clear evidence that Nesto was indeed in LA in August of 2017. That's when his daughter says the first incident occurred. Now, mind you, she's going to say she started commenting on some of this stuff and he kept deleting her comments. I remember seeing some of them. I hope I have some of those too. So now by August 8th, 2017, he posted a photo tagged Dubai. So at least from July 31st through or at least through August 5th or so, he was in LA. The same time, around that time, August 2017, his daughter says the first assault happened. She said it happened in Arkansas because they were driving from Atlanta over to LA. So he's posting this photo in Dubai, August 8th. He's saying, "Oh, it is only 9 o'clock in the morning here and it's already 102 degrees. Man, it's hot over here." I was thinking that's nothing like the metaphorical heat that Nesto would feel later when he'd be locked up in the Georgia jails and, you know, listening to him, his chick on the side, you know, she's windmilling on these recorded phone calls for him claiming, or either he claimed this, it's hard to remember who. Oh, he's like, "I was in Dubai that whole time. You know, what's she talking about? I was in Dubai." Well, did you forget, you know, not true, Nesto, that you posted all these freaking photos and videos dated and geotagged in LA, around the LA area, Newport Beach and all that in August 2017. So, you know, every bit of evidence helps. We'll see what happens. Now, incident number 3. This is with his daughter, July 2020. According to the police report, the third incident occurred from her recollection during the time of her birthday in July of 2020. Now, I'm sure some people would say, oh my goodness, this girl's no victim. If her dad really did this to her the first time, why did she keep seeing him and all that stuff? I think she's already touched on the guilty feelings. She's going to touch on confusion too. Like, I thought this is what daughters do. I've read and researched so many stories of abuse, alleged abuse. Not everyone acts the way the next person would act. Someone might be attacked in this way by their own dad. Some people might fight back. Some people might shoot him. Some people might run away. Some people might run away and never tell anyone. Or some people might, like her, like she's alleging, finally get up the gumption to tell police about it later. So indeed, she's saying this is the third incident, July 2020. The daughter's birthday is listed as July 12th. So again, she would have been 33 years old at this time. Nesto would have been 55. And part of me wonders too, was there that daddy-daughter longing? Like, if she didn't grow up with him, if he was in and out of jail, and I don't even know all the dates, perhaps a bad relationship with her dad and mom. I don't even know who her mom is, but I've heard talk on the jail calls like, oh, do you think her mom put her up to this and lying on you and all that? And Nesto's like, oh yeah, that's what happened. It's like always all their fault. It's all the daughter's fault, the ex-wife's fault, and it's always their fault. We have to keep a balanced approach, but my goodness. This daughter indicated she observed suspect Earnest getting a Jeep washed at a car wash in Sherman Oaks. Okay, so she's there. She saw him getting his car washed, allegedly. This is the third incident in 2020, according to her. So I was like, oh my goodness, was she again just driving by and happened to see him or what? I don't know. We have to really dig into the facts and see who to believe. I did find it ironic, though, that I would find photos and videos of Nesto, washing his bright yellow Hummer H1. It's the civilian version of the military M998 Humvee. It's a video dated May 4th, 2020. I was like, okay, what else was he posting around this time? There was another photo from May 1st, May Day 2020, showing Nesto bent down next to a white heavy-duty pickup truck. It's some kind of Ford Super Duty, likely a F350 or F450 quality. He has a green hose and a bucket nearby and like a little towel. Obviously, he likes washing his cars off, and so that tracks. His daughter may have seen him at a car wash. Now, by April 6, 2020, Nesto was getting even more shine and glaze. His Instagram posted this throwback video. I remember watching this episode, the time his barbershop was literally featured on the Bravo show, Married to Medicine. Now, the men on that Married to Medicine TV reality show had visited the barbershop. They do these scenes. But, instead of just getting haircuts or whatever and trims, they were greeted with women, like this one woman doing splits, rolling all around the floor. And they're like, whoa, I don't think we're supposed to be here, And the women were marching like soldiers. And Dr. Eugene from the show, he was like, what the hell is going on in here? This is a weird barbershop. So he picked up on the vibe, and little did he know he was really picking up on a vibe. But, Nesto was kind of reveling in the glory of, look, my barbershop is featured on Bravo, and kind of like, he has all these photos with famous people, and I'm sure they have, no idea what he was into, but reality stars. Who do I see photos with? Just different, if I find them, I'll pop them up here, but just different people. All these photos kind of like, I'm the man, like all this money I have and all these famous people I know. Well, on May 22nd, 2020, Nesto wrote on Instagram, congratulations to my youngest granddaughter. She graduated to the, he just said sixth, to the sixth, he didn't say sixth grade. I'm so proud of her. So I was like, okay. No mention on Instagram what his oldest daughter was allegedly enduring around that time, and no happy birthday to her, that I could find. So we're still going through 2020. On May 23rd, 2020, Nesto was writing, sometimes you gotta fumble and stumble to get to the next level. This is for the people who gave up on themselves. It's okay. Just ask God for forgiveness and everything will be just fine, he wrote. Oh, he's so flippant with it. And that video was tagged Vista, California. California, so once again it placed him in the Sunshine State where, his daughter's going to say they eventually saw each other. June 9th, 2020, Nesto posted a photo of himself in the driver's seat and Shirley in the passenger seat. They were voting, so this was back in Georgia. He wrote, "To make a change, we all have to vote to get what we truly deserve. That is respect for all people. God bless us all." Imagine the stuff we know thus far has allegedly happened and then capping like this on Instagram. I'm like, how ironic those words might come back to haunt him if any of the people he voted for, the politicians, are the ones who will take him down. Now that photo was tagged Buckhead, Atlanta. So it's true, on June 9th, 2020, Georgia did hold their primary elections for the Georgia General Assembly, as well as other, county level positions, sheriffs, county commissioners, all these people. And I'm like, what if he voted in someone who'll take him down? But on July 8th, we're getting closer to her birthday time now, 2020, Nesto posted info about praying for Mayor Keisha Bottoms. I can't help but Power Glide. I always think of that song Power Glide when I see her names. Shout out Keisha Bottoms. Anyway, he's like, pray for her on Friday, July 9th, 2020. Meanwhile, we're edging closer to his oldest daughter's birthday. And notably, that day is skipped right over on Nesto's social media. No HBDs for her. But Nesto did, skip 7 days or something? He skipped 10 whole days in there. Maybe stuff has been deleted before I could record it. But Nesto posted a tribute July 18th, 2020 to his friend John Lewis. So that's the iconic civil rights leader, the U.S. congressman. He represented Georgia's 5th congressional district for more than 30 years. So it was shared on July 18th, one day after John had died at age 80. So he's always just posting himself up with these famous people. Kevin Hart, that's it. And just all these different people, On July 26, 2020, Nesto posted a video with himself and Shirley in Buckhead, Atlanta, inside that bright yellow Humvee. They were at a mall, I believe. He's like, me and Cotton Candy just making moves as usual. Stay positive, from Triple OG Nesto. So I guess, I don't know why he writes Triple OG. Then by July 28th, 2020, Nesto is posting videos of him taking Shirley to go get her hair done. She's like, oh, getting kind of puffy in the back. And Shirley, ironically, is in the back seat of their vehicle as he's filming from the driver's seat. And that same day, Nesto goes on to post this awkward video of him celebrating Shirley's birthday with flowers and a cake. I don't know if she was expecting more. It's really awkward. She's misreading the writing on the cake. It says, super special day for my queen Cotton Candy, he wrote. It's just weird. Again, no mention of the 33rd birthday his oldest daughter would have just celebrated. None of the events she details in her police report. But this particular group of Instagram photos and videos in July 2020 shows that Nesto did not place himself visually anywhere near California around his daughter's birthday when she alleges the horrible third event happened. Her statement continued in the police report regarding that July 2020 incident, third incident. It says, later that night, suspect Earnest returned in the same Mercedes he had used in the 2018 incident, at which time suspect Earnest exited the vehicle and proceeded to punch her face, this is what she's alleging, and stomach approximately 2 to 3 times before forcing her into his vehicle. She mentioned she was then taken to the suspect's residence in Inglewood, California. She indicated she was then assaulted inside the residence against her will by suspect Earnest. She also stated that the residence belonged to the suspect's wife, which she stated was her stepmom, Shirley Strawberry. So this is 2020, they're still married, Nesto and Shirley. And I did look it up. I know Shirley had roots in California. Public records do list an address in Inglewood, California, last reported in 2021 as being Shirley's address. She's 71 years old. The home is beautiful. It's valued at $1.6 million, 3 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, nearly 2,000 square feet. Now, on this report, injury and medical treatment. The daughter says she didn't seek medical attention when the incidents occurred. So I know that's something that if there were evidence, DNA evidence, of course it would have helped. As far as photos, recordings, videos, and all that digital imaging, it does say, the daughter emailed me a photo of the suspect, which is attached to this report. So it's here's his photo. The incident was captured on body-worn video camera. All statements in the investigation are paraphrased from the video, and we can get the full and complete statements by a review of the video. Evidence none, canvassing none. And it says additional, West Valley Night Watch Detective Moreno and Detective Gosser and West Valley Watch Commander Sergeant Bambrick were briefed during these incidents. It says, my partner and I asked her why there was a delay to report these catastrophic events. Her reply was that she felt guilty and thought that this is how daughters were supposed to act. So it will be interesting to hear more about that, like her state of mind, her, I'm assuming she's not married. Does she truly have mental issues? What is her understanding level? It's so many questions. But she also stated she was scared and thought that no one would believe her, as it was her father who was the one who was, and it says, rapping her. I was like, they really spelled it rapping in the police report. She also mentioned there were several times in which she tried to comment her story on Instagram posts, but they kept on being removed. I do remember some like caps lock type of stuff, and I was kind of like, what is this? Who is this? I wish I had that info. Maybe I can find it. It says clothing and bedding were not obtained due to the delay in reporting, which makes sense. It should be noted that an internet search revealed that the suspect is a high-profile barber, so these LAPD detectives were looking him up. And his wife, Shirley Strawberry, is a television personality. When asked if she recalled any clothing the suspect was wearing or provided her, she said Nesto gave her a black hoodie to wear with the logo of Nesto on the front. Nesto is the name of his barbershop, and we can see him wearing those a lot in his Instagram photos and videos. It says, my partner also asked, how does she know the name of the business, or does she know the name of the business? And she said, Nesto's Buckhead. So, utilizing city resources, it was revealed that suspect Ernesto's wife is the registered owner of a Jeep and a Mercedes. So this Jeep and this Mercedes, the daughter spoke about in the reports that Ernest Nesto was driving during the alleged incidents. Shirley Strawberry did have those, registered to her, and we know Shirley let Nesto take the cars and drive a lot. It says, due to the allegations against a high-profile individual, officers contacted MEU regarding the daughter. What is MEU? Maybe the medical unit, or they're trying to figure out, I'll flash it on the screen when I figure out what that is. It says MEU Perez indicated there were no prior contacts. So this is the first time I believe the daughter is, she was going to police. Court information, my partner and I can testify to the contents of this report. So will they go to Atlanta? And then there's a photo of Nesto and these screenshots of the text messages. Oh my goodness. We don't have what happened before, but we have some screenshots, and it says Earnest Williams at the top. And, all caps again, she's like, go F your wife. Go F your wife. You never loved me. Go F your wife. You took my virginity, Dad. I was like, oh my goodness. He's like, what is your telephone number? Because you're going too, T-O, not T-O-O, T-O, you're going too far. She says, I'm your daughter, not some bitch. No, you don't care about me. And he's like, one more time, what is your telephone number? And she's like, you just care about you. And she wrote, well, why did you go that far with me, Dad? Why you think you're right? You always play the victim. And that's where the screenshots end. So it'll be interesting. It seems nothing came of that daughter's case, that report from March 2nd, 2021, alleging all those 3 incidents, until now, because it's being used in his new case. So meanwhile, aside from his daughter, another woman alleged Nesto did bad things to her as well during the same time period. I'm like, if this is true, he was a busy little beaver, wasn't he? Being married and, doing this allegedly to other women. This is victim 1. I'm calling her an aspiring actress. She's saying this stuff happened from January 1st, 2019 through till July 7th, 2022 in Alpharetta, Georgia, this time, up until the date of his arrest. So again, although he was supposedly happily married to Shirley, according to victim 1, this aspiring actress, Nesto was busy bothering her from the time period of 2019 to 2022. Now, once Nesto's arrest happened, this victim, this actress, finally felt comfortable enough and brave enough to reach out to police and let them know what she says he put her through. Quote, victim learned of a criminal case involving the accused that was published online. The victim reached out to the lead detective handling that matter and made disclosures about being recruited and enticed by the accused, promising her help with a career in modeling. So that indictment out of the state of Georgia's Fulton County goes on to report, in exchange for the promise of a career in modeling, she was told she had to perform sex acts with the accused. The accused also threatened to kill her if she did not comply with his demands and told her not to tell his wife, Shirley Strawberry. Whew! Now, those are just the latest couple of assault type issues. There's threads that run through all of these. If you look at some of Nesto's videos and stuff, he's accused of fraud or theft or whatever. It's the kind of thing where he's sitting around this campfire pretending to, put all these people up on game about business and all this stuff, promising them whatever. If you dig into the documents as much as you can, the whole thread is like, oh, I've got it made. Let me show you how to, make it. He didn't really attribute his success to Shirley's money. He claimed it was all just, him having this great business mind and everything. So Nesto was arrested. Booking date, July 7th, 2022 at 5:03 p.m. It was a hot day, July 2022. How perfect. It was, 2 years after that third incident, allegedly with his daughter. He was stopped in his tracks and arrested. And sometimes I feel like God is looking and looking and looking, and it's just like, that's enough, He already had quite this colorful criminal history, but he had promised Shirley, oh, that's behind me. And Shirley had taken a chance. After all, she didn't know all this. And Nesto cleaned up well. He liked driving her around. They made a cute couple. They lived in this big, beautiful house together. But then something happened. They had to leave, and she was claiming there were bugs, or maybe that's what Nesto was claiming. He made Instagram videos making it seem like, his cotton candy Shirley and him were the perfect power couple. But when he was arrested in Roswell, Georgia, on multiple charges, including fraud, forgery, theft, part of this $1 million+ business scheme, Shirley learned everything was not golden. And there was this other woman, Erica King, like his alleged partner or whatever, but I think she's fine now. She testified against him, and I think she's even got out. But he is just been in jail for nearly 4 years now. He keeps waiting, and to hear him tell it, he has done nothing wrong. Everything's this huge conspiracy against him, Anyway, but especially when the news of Nesto's arrest became public knowledge, his recorded jail phone calls were eventually published on YouTube for the whole wide world to hear, and we were listening. According to the indictment, though, upon arrest, the accused was found with electronic devices, a laptop that was extracted pursuant to a search warrant wherein officers located CSAM on the laptop. You should hear his little girlfriend talk about this, just every excuse in the book. Oh, that laptop, did it come from a pawn shop? Who knows who put that stuff on there? The images located, even contained animal stuff. That's how I'll put it. They even found toys with the defendant at the arrest. So those toys became important, when lining it up with what his daughter said he had in the car. So we're up to August of 2023 now. Nesto's jail phone calls with his mistress are published to YouTube, and he spoke to other people too. But this wonderful YouTube channel came along called Phone Calls from Prison. It began to publish plenty of Nesto's jail phone calls. Us listeners had a lot of catching up to do. Now, we may have kind of heard of Shirley Strawberry peripherally, but at that point we started, getting an up-close and personal look at her and her husband. Many people were appalled. Jail calls from March of 2023 through June of 2023 were published first. They were kind of published out of order. But, some of those initial calls back in the day, we would hear Shirley's voice. She would speak to her husband, She would alternately try and keep his spirit up, give him Bible quotes and say, just pray. She didn't talk much. Other times she would complain about losing, they took my ring, they were taking my car. She was at the hairdressers when they were confiscating stuff. She wasn't used to dealing with all this jail stuff. At that point, he had been in jail for more than a year. And once his jail phone calls went viral online, everything was amplified. And it had to be like manna from heaven. I'm sure it was so hurtful, of course, to his wife. But Shirley was able to finally see who she was married to, at least, because not only were her calls with him published and with his, friends and his son and other people, it was this woman. People were like, wait, Harpo, who this woman? Who's this little Sonia who's on these phone calls talking like his girlfriend or something? Before they really realized the phone calls were going to be published to YouTube, they were speaking more freely. So she had gone through all these machinations to find Nesto, the little girlfriend. She's like, I knew you must have been in the hospital or in jail because, I didn't hear from you. She tracked him down. At one point, he went to, I think, Fulton County first. No. He went to, I think, Cobb County Jail first and then Fulton, and she ended up finding him. People were listening. Viewers were like, okay, these conversations are intimate. They're talking about maybe being together in this huge bus and all this stuff or whatever, and it's like, okay. But those were the least of his troubles. Any adultery accusations, it would be one of the reasons why he would lose his wife and fumble that bag big time. She got like a $5 million deal after divorcing him, or right while they were breaking up. But the criminal allegations are the ones that'll keep him locked up much longer than he anticipated. 4 years almost now he's been locked up, and if you listen to the old calls, you'll hear him like, oh, I should know something, maybe next month. And every time it's like, maybe I'll get out, maybe I'll get out. But I remember the day, April 18th, 2024. I remember where I was sitting in the sitting room when I made this video about Shirley Strawberry filing for divorce. I got the alert from Fulton County. I was like, wow. I made the video. She filed for divorce after all this stuff. And he had been pressuring her. I mean, come on. He would just talk about his wife, and he would talk about her being older than him, and try and dog her out. And meanwhile, Shirley was coming off the dollars a lot in the beginning to help try and pay for his lawyers and help him out. And then all of a sudden this little woman pops up and her husband's speaking negatively about her. No wonder he was trying to pressure her, like, what are you going to do? And she's just like, look, I don't know what I'm going to do. That's exactly how you play it too. She didn't want to say, I'm going to divorce you. She's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. That was a good thing. She played it right. So now, up to the present day, April 15th, 2026, this explosive indictment is filed in Fulton County Superior Court. April 16th, 2026, Nesto's trial was scheduled to begin, but I kept saying, like, what happened? Thank God for AI, ChatGPT, Gemini. I use it so much every day. There's some FN to motions hearings. I'm like, what does that mean? It's on the docket. So in the context of Fulton County, FN typically stands for further notice. So when a hearing result is listed as further notice to motion hearings, it means that specific event, in this case, we were looking for a trial the other day, it's been postponed or stayed. The case is being sent back to the motions phase. So as long as Nesto's been waiting, he's got to wait some more. The court won't move forward with a trial until outstanding legal motions are resolved. I don't know which motions are outstanding. This one was just filed, so maybe it's this one. A new date will be set once the judge is ready to hear those motions. And Nesto's defense attorney, Sean Hoover, he has filed multiple leaves of absence, including one spanning the trial date from April 8th. It was filed April 8th, and there's one filed April 14th. So lawyers need time off, of course. He's probably doing whatever, traveling. So essentially, the court decided it can't start Nesto's trial yet until those pretrial matters and potential appeals are fully settled, and there's some kind of plea hearings. There's a lot that needs to happen. So Earnest still sits in jail nearly 4 years later. We don't know when he'll stand trial, or if. Will he plead guilty? What'll he do? I don't hear a lot of these jail phone calls anymore as much as we used to hear them. There are older calls we can listen to, we've heard. Hopefully we'll hear new ones, but these days, he's not that talkative. We haven't heard him speaking to, one of his best friends he used to always talk to. His son, we don't really hear those that much either. I don't know. I can't speak for others. Maybe people just got tired of him, and he got tired of his phone calls being played on YouTube. He's like, why are so many people so fascinated? I'm fascinated. If I could interview this man ever, I would want to know, like, what happened to him in his childhood that he acts this way? Of course, it's no excuse for any type of assault or fraud or anything if he's found guilty of any of these things. I just want to know, of course I believe in going there and praying with him. If I would ever felt the calling to do that, but, because I do prison ministry up here, people in jail, I don't ask them what they're in for. If they tell me, that's another thing. But, you know, it's about prayer. It's about accepting Christ as Savior. It's about, look, none of us know when we'll breathe our last breath. Let's get serious with God. Let's stop pump faking, as Nesta would say. A lot of y'all out here pump faking. Let me show you how to get to the money. You know, forget all that stuff. Get right with God in the right way. We've got to really hear God's voice and really attempt to do what He wants us to do. But it wouldn't be about going there to pray with Him. I would want to know, we don't have to talk about the case or anything. I want to know, like, what happened in your childhood? How did you grow up? Where did you grow up? What put it in you to act the way you act? I'm always fascinated with that. You know, a person how did they grow up, and were they really poor, and did they say, okay, I'll never be poor again. I'll do whatever I got to do to never be poor again. And that's why I'm all into, you know, stunting and flossing and showing off stuff and pretending like I own everything and run the world. That's what I would like to hear. So stay tuned. This case will be a doozy. You understand why. People are fascinated still. People are fascinated still with Nesto and Shirley Strawberry. Even though she's long divorced him, she's moved on. I hope she's great in life. Hope she finds a beautiful, honest man. She'll probably never get married again. Who knows? Who am I to say? Jeremiah 23:24. Who can hide in secret places so that I cannot see them, declares the Lord. Do I not fill heaven and earth, declares the Lord? That's really powerful. God's like, look, I'm everywhere. Who's going to hide from me? So no matter whatever we might try to get on there and pretend to be something we're not, or, you know, pretend to say, I wasn't there, that wasn't me. And who can hide from God? And of course, I'm not condemning anyone. I'm not pretending like I'm all up here and He's all down here. I just don't like when people hurt others. God does not like injustice. God loves justice. I just want to see justice met out. You know, it's not about, oh, they're trying to keep the black man down, or they're trying to do this and that. No, it's about what actually happened. Did you defraud anyone? Did you assault these women? What's truth? And let's hope it comes out in court in a fascinating trial. And they've been allowing cameras in Fulton County, so it should be fascinating. Stay tuned for updates on this case and many others. If you want to read, you know, the stuff I didn't read from the documents, I'll put the links below. Trigger warning. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.